Welcome to today's video. And in today's video, let's look at changes of state. Now, with changes of state, we have melting, we have freezing, we have boiling, we have evaporation. But in today's video, let's focus on melting and freezing. And before we look at that, let's recall on the three states of matter. So with the three states of matter, we know we have solid, liquid, and gas. Now, each of these three states of matter, they all have their own properties. All right. So with the properties of each of them, I've already done a video on that. I'll link it in the description below and also at the top right corner of this video. All right. So let's move on to melting and freezing. Now, let's first look at melting. When we take melting, all right, basically we are looking at a substance changing from being solid to liquid. All right. And with this, basically, we are applying heat to the solid substance. All right. And once we do that, this is what happens with the particles that are present within, okay, the solid material or substance. So the particles, once we apply heat to it, all right, they basically gain energy. And once they gain energy, they start to move around, all right? And they change from being packed together, all right, vibrating on the spot, to moving around. And once that happens, basically, they've changed into liquid, all right? So that's what melting. And when we take freezing, freezing is basically the opposite of melting, all right? So when we take freezing, we know our substance is liquid, okay? So we want to make it to be a solid, all right? So basically what happens here is that instead of applying heat to the liquid material or substance, okay, we basically lower the heat. Sorry, we basically lower the temperature, all right? And once we lower the temperature, the particles lose the energy that they have, all right? They lose the energy that they have and they start to come together, all right? And with that, when that happens, basically, they become solid materials or substances, okay? So that's what happens with freezing. Now, when we take these two, all right, a substance will never melt or a substance will never freeze until they've reached their melting point and freezing point. I was about to say a boiling point. So unless they reach their melting and freezing point, they will never melt or freeze. All right. So let's look at melting point. Now, when we talk about melting point, basically is the temperature at which a substance will melt. All right. And freezing point is the temperature at which a substance will freeze. So when we take water as an example, all right, water will basically melt when the temperature is above 0 degrees Celsius. And water will basically freeze, okay, when the temperature reaches 0 degrees Celsius. So above 0 degrees Celsius, water will melt. And below or exactly at 0 degrees Celsius, water will freeze. So when we say that water will melt, we know that the water is what? Ice. Okay, so basically it will melt when the temperature is above 0 degrees Celsius. So that's all about melting and freezing. And all that you have to know here is how the particles behave anytime we talk about melting. So anytime we talk about melting, basically the particles have gained energy. They start to move apart, okay, and they start to move around. And when that happens, they become liquid substances, all right? And when we talk about freezing, basically the particles lose energy and they come together, all right? They are packed together and they start vibrating on the spot. So when that happens, they become solid materials. All right. So that's all about it. And also you need to know about melting point and freezing point. All right. Okay. Some questions are going to come after this. Try your hands on it. You can pause the video when the question comes up. Answer it. When you're done, unpause it and compare your answer with what comes up on the screen. And you can try your hands on it and get to know whether you are okay with the topic. All right. So please subscribe if you've not done so, and I'll see you in the next one.